Money isn't just numbers in a bank account, it's a psychological force that can scar the brain. For millions, financial stress triggers a trauma response as real as any physical threat. It begins with a sound. The scrape of a key in a lock at 3 a.m., the thud of an eviction notice, or a parent's sharp intake of breath when a child asks for new shoes. For millions, money is not a tool but a source of chronic terror. This is financial trauma, a psychological wound neuroscience is only beginning to map. Unlike acute trauma, it's insidious, eroding safety slowly. A 2018 study in Social Science and Medicine found that high financial strain causes elevated cortisol and inflammation, comparable to survivors of severe physical abuse. The wallet, it turns out, is wired to the amygdala. Behavioral scientists Senthil Mullainathan and Eldar Shafir introduced the concept of a scarcity mindset in their 2013 book. When resources are limited, the brain focuses intensely on the immediate deficit, not by choice, but as a cognitive bottleneck. Their experiments showed that low-income individuals lost 13 to 14 IQ points when primed with financial worries. This cognitive tax isn't about intelligence. It's a neurological consequence of chronic stress. The prefrontal cortex, responsible for planning and impulse control, gets deprioritized when the limbic system screams about an overdue bill, leaving no bandwidth for long-term decisions. Financial trauma operates through the same biological pathways as other traumas. The hypothalamic pituitary adrenal axis, which regulates stress, becomes chronically activated. A 2016 study in psychoneuroendocrinology tracked 1,200 participants over a decade and found persistent financial strain predicted elevated cortisol more strongly than job loss or divorce. The body cannot distinguish a threat from a predator from a bank statement. This chronic activation disrupts sleep, impairs immunity, and increases depression risk. A 2020 meta-analysis in JAMA Psychiatry found high debt-to-income ratios made individuals 3.2 times more likely to meet criteria for major depressive disorder. Financial trauma can be inherited, passed down through generations like a family secret. Psychologists Brad and Ted Klontz coined money scripts, unconscious beliefs about money absorbed from families. These scripts emerge from traumatic experiences, the Great Depression, a bankruptcy, or a parent's gambling addiction. Common maladaptive scripts include money is the root of all evil, creating guilt around earning, or there will never be enough, leading to hoarding. These aren't truths, but survival narratives that once helped families cope, yet become psychological prisons, dictating financial behavior decades later. Emerging research suggests financial trauma may leave biological marks. A 2019 study in Nature Communications examined DNA methylation in children whose parents experienced severe economic hardship. They found altered methylation in genes related to stress regulation and metabolism, patterns persisting even when children grew up in stable environments. This doesn't mean poverty is genetic destiny, but the body remembers scarcity at a molecular level. These epigenetic echoes can influence stress responses and metabolic health, showing how deeply financial hardship can shape a person's biology across generations. One of the most common symptoms of financial trauma is avoidance. People ignore bank statements, delay paying bills, or refuse to discuss money. This isn't laziness, it's a protective mechanism. The brain associates financial information with threat, triggering a freeze response similar to facing a predator. Avoidance provides temporary relief but worsens the problem, creating a cycle of shame and anxiety. Studies show that individuals with financial trauma often have lower financial literacy, not from lack of intelligence, but from the emotional toll of engaging with money. Breaking this cycle requires addressing the underlying fear. Healing financial trauma starts with awareness. Recognizing that money scripts are survival narratives, not truths, is crucial. Therapy approaches like cognitive behavioral therapy and somatic experiencing can help rewire the brain's response to financial triggers. Small, manageable steps, like checking a bank account regularly or creating a simple budget, can rebuild a sense of control. A 2021 study in the Journal of Financial Therapy found that mindfulness-based interventions reduced financial anxiety and improved decision-making. The goal isn't to erase the past, but but to transform money from a source of terror into a tool for living. Financial trauma is real, but it doesn't have to define your future. If you found this valuable, consider sharing it with someone who might need to hear it.